This will be about a 45-minute ghost walk, one of the most haunted locations in America. I want to give you a little bit of history in some of these areas, and we'll be taking you some of the hot spots of the paranormal activity, more it's unexplained phenomenon. But I do want to tell you, of course, obviously about the ghost stories. That's why y'all are here. Now, a little backstory though, get you kind of acquainted with where you're at. The prison opened in 1866 and it closed in March 1995. During that time, this was West Virginia's only maximum security prison. During its operation, this became known as one of the bloodiest institutions in the country. This prison has probably seen more killing on 10 acres of land than anywhere else in America. I'll tell you that in 129 years of operation, they had 998 documented deaths here. Okay, Alcatraz had 28. If you all have ever been to Mansfield Reformatory, just a few hours from here up in Ohio, they had around 250. So this topples a lot of the other prisons in the country, state and federal, in terms of the death count. There was so much death here at one point in time, this penitentiary was on the Department of Justice's top 10 list of the most violent correctional facilities in the country. This was number 2 out of 10. They actually nicknamed this prison Blood Alley. That's what the DOJ called this prison. That's how they knew it. Now right now, we are in probably the least active area of the prison, the quietest area. This is the center of the administration building. But despite it being the quietest area, we've still yet seen, have a lot of reports of shadows and apparitions down this hallway over the last 20 years or so since the prison closed. A lot of cold spots. Basically, you can feel how the air feels right here. But a cold spot is when you're walking through an area, it feels like you stop because it feels noticeably cold. That is a cold spot. That is an indicator, we believe, that you may be in the presence of some unusual energy or a spirit, perhaps. Now, we're going to be traveling over a lot of uneven surfaces, a lot of uneven steps. Please use your flashlights on your phones. Your flashlights, if you have them, is encouraged. Like I say, it's going to be kind of some uneven treading that we're going to be doing here. But first, I'm going to take y'all into the area behind me, which was the North Hall cell block. That was known as administrative segregation. That was really the jail for the prison. The guys that were in here originally were started out on the south half, down in general population. They killed another inmate, they stabbed a guard, another inmate. Got involved with violence here in the prison, workers, drug trade, and theft. They got them sent to North Hall. The inmates, they knew this cell block as the Alamo, and they got that name because they said this was their last name. This was a kill-or-be-killed type of environment in here. Because of that, some of them prefer to call it the Bloody Bucket. I do want to tell you, though, I told you how they had 998 documented deaths. Well, within those deaths, they had 94 state-sanctioned executions. The death penalty was in effect here in West Virginia, at least until 1965. But they had 85 hangings and 9 electrocutions in Old Sparky. That's the electric chair you've probably seen down in the lobby. If you wondered if it was real, sure is. There's 9 guys that passed away in that chair between 1951 and 1959. In the 20s and 30s, tuberculosis was an epidemic here, and during those early times, TB was the #1 cause of death for the inmates out of any other cause. You also had, unfortunately, a lot of suicide in this institution. You had between 30 to 40 murders in this prison's history as well. So North Hall, the cells you're going to be seeing in here, they're 5 by 7 in size, 35 square feet. When you see them, you're welcome to step in them as we walk by. All the cell writing you'll see is original. We haven't covered up or erased any of it. You'll see a lot of colorful language and imagery in here. Kind of spooky writings and things. But when you see how small those cells are, just imagine 3 men in there, because back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, when they had almost 3,000 inmates here, they had 2 bunks in these cells. They put a mattress on the floor, and they had 3 men in each one. So when you see how small these cells are, imagine 3 grown men in each one. Without further ado, we'll enter North Hall.
Write it up, man. Wait, I'm recording. Okay, write it up. I'm not recording.